It's good to see you all. We're here for the first of two test prep sessions for the GOEs. I hope you're not feeling especially anxious or overwhelmed at this point. You really oughtn't be, because you've been studying for some time for it all. But we have tonight and a week from tonight at the same time a couple of sessions to help orient you to the exam. So tonight I'm very pleased to introduce to you Beth Ely, who works with the General Board of Examining Chaplains. We'll be spending some time with her tonight to just get an overview of the GOEs, what they are, how the questions are formed, and simply to hear from an insider, someone who has a hand in the composition of the exam, some tips and perspectives on how to do well. So without me saying anything else, I'm very pleased to turn that over to Beth. And there'll, of course, be time for questions later on as well.
Thank you very much, Jason. I am pleased to be with everybody, and I guess we'll have some more people join us as we go along. My name is Beth Ely, and I'm a retired priest. I've been working with the GOEs almost since I graduated in 1989 from General Seminary. My husband now heads the part of the Episcopal Church that works with that exclusively. It is a huge and long and complicated process. And every year you have to go through it because all the questions are different every year. He wanted me to come on tonight and be with you, and I will answer questions. We go around the country and usually visit most of the seminaries so that we can tell everybody in person that it's not going to be horrible. You're going to do fine. And in fact, it gets better and better every year. It's more and more user-friendly. Certainly more user-friendly than when I took it in '89. And I think Jason took it a long time ago too. And
that's right.
It was tough. So I just want, part of this is just to help with your anxiety. We didn't have anybody do this for us way back in the day. And I mean, I still have nightmares about it. So I dreaded all my years of seminary. I dreaded that I was going to have to take the GOEs. But I think the church is a lot better in that way. It's a lot more pastoral process. It is designed to help you succeed. And that's one of the reasons that we reach out to you, so that we can explain some things to you that you might be wondering about, and also offer you tips. And throughout the time I'll be offering you tips, you might, want to scribble them down. Just to kind of get started, you've never heard anybody talk about the GOEs before, right? Never even heard the word. You don't even know what it is. Tell me what you've heard. Turn on your mics and tell me. It's all right, you won't offend me, I promise.
Among the things that I've heard, I've heard that it is a really long period of sitting still, and necessitates a pretty significant amount of focus. Mm-hmm. And that having your materials organized is the most important thing.
Okay. Those are all true. Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. Is it Linda?
Lindsay.
Lindsay. Okay, I couldn't tell. Yeah, okay. All right, Lindsay, thank you. Mm-hmm. Okay, anybody else? Okay. So no myths. Like your bishop won't ordain you if you don't pass them all. Nothing like that. No? Okay, good. All right. Back in the day, they were very different, like I told you, and people want to know why we have them. And the reason that we have them is this. Back in the day, every diocese tested their own people. So some of you would have piece of cake. You know, they'd say, what's your middle name? And then go on and ordain you. And other people, it would just be torture. So the church really wanted to equalize that for everyone. The church wanted to equalize what was taught in the seminaries. And so in the canons of the church, if you've ever bothered to read them, which you probably should, the idea that you're going to learn, and now it's 6 different areas it's going to be concentrated, and the canons even tell you what you need to learn in each of those areas, okay? And those are the 6 areas, those are the 6 questions that you are tested on, all right? We used to mix the areas together, but now we test, each question is primarily for the area that you know we're testing for. So when you get a scriptures question, it'll be, we're looking at what you know about scripture, okay? We're not like sneaking in, what do they know about pastoral stuff or ethics, okay? So that makes it a lot more limited, and your boundaries are better. I'm just gonna talk to you a little bit, and then I'm going to make sure all your questions are answered. We will tell you the answer to any question, except what the questions are gonna be this year. Which we do know, which are done. Sorry, I know. I could really be a billionaire. I could, yeah. Okay. So the GOEs have morphed and changed over the years to be, in this modern age, more user-friendly. It really did used to be a rite of passage in a negative way, like walking on hot coals, that kind of rite of passage. And now we are doing it for people who are going to be priests and are going to go into their first, whether it's a congregation, a large congregation, if they're an associate or a vicar, but the questions are written for people who are going to be ordained to the priesthood and be in their first place, okay, the first place of ministry. Therefore, the questions are not things that you would need to have a PhD in any of the subjects we're testing at, okay? They are, you're all Episcopalians by now, even if you didn't start out that way, right? Okay, so, and if I came up to you and said, if somebody came out of seminary and they came to your parish and you were a layperson and you asked them about something, what would you expect that person to know the first day that they come to your parish? What would you expect them to be able to articulate? All right. So those are the kinds of questions that you are going to get, not some esoteric things that have nothing to do with your ministry, with the world today, not something you've never heard of in history, which they used to ask. You will get things that you should know as a first-year priest or someone right out of seminary, okay? And so those things are pretty basic, you know, the doctrines of the church, what the church believes about this and that, the history of our church, and why we're like we are, and why we're not like other people, things like that. Just very, very basic things that you may, you know, I know a lot of you do, all of you do field work, right? So you may have had these questions from people. And what we always tell groups, if you're a senior in seminary and looking at being ordained fairly soon, if I gave you this test today you would be able to pass it already. You know enough. And it's all about just putting it together logically. And indeed, Lindsay, it is about having your materials at hand. Back in the day, only thing we could have was a prayer book and a hymnal. You guys, they're all open resource this year, which means the internet, any library book, any book on the internet, any class notes you have. But you cannot ask, your roommate, your best friend, your professor. That is limited. But otherwise, you can use any resource, and then you will cite within the thing that you're writing. And I use the word essay, saying to you, it's not all essay. Okay, and that comes with looking at the question. Okay, but you will put everything together yourself to argue, take a standpoint, give some information about history, theology. All the exams, all 6 of them are 2 parts. The first part is basically tell us something about this. And then it tells you what it wants to know about, okay? The second part is use that knowledge to answer the next part of it. And the next part is generally modern, like things that are going on in the church now. And yes, I am a Southerner. I'm speaking to you from North Carolina, so you'll have your little Southern dose today. Okay.
I'm in Kentucky, so it's all good.
Hey! Okay. So also, the word limit is set at 1,000 words per question. That's both parts. Do not write way over that. And do not write way under that. And this is the reason. These questions are put together and tested to be that you should be able to answer the question with everything you need in 2 hours in 1,000 words. If you go way over it, the evaluators will probably think you're just trying to pad it because you have no clue what you're talking about, which happens. Mm-hmm. And if it's way under it, also, you need about 1,000 words to answer what the question is asking. Okay, so that is, you do have boundaries. You have 3.5 hours for each question, but you have 2 hours. These questions are meant to be answered in 2 hours. Okay, the rest of the time you should be just refining and then making sure that on the computer you're doing what you need to do to make sure that it comes to us when you finish it. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later, okay? We have a board that is elected by the House of Bishops and confirmed by the House of Deputies. People run for the different positions, and they're like, and I don't know this off the top of my head, I'd have to look at the canons, but there are X number of bishops, X number of seminary faculty, X number of clergy with cures, X number of lay people. So we have all kinds of people from all different areas of the church that are on our board. I do respect men. I just want to say that I have a husband and a son, but it was all white guys basically before. And we have really worked on our diversity. We have more to go. We would like to do better. We would love for people to feel that they are called to this and run for it. but we are really trying and asking our questions, and in the kinds of people that we have working with us, to have a lot of different points of view, a lot of different backgrounds, as much diversity as we can get. Now, speaking of point of view, this is something that I think a lot of students fear, and that is that we expect one point of view for an answer, that we already know what it is, but we're not going to tell you whether we're liberal, progressive, right-wing, off the charts, moderate. In fact, we have readers who are all those things, and we don't have in mind what position we need you to take on any single thing, except orthodoxy. Just strict, that's the party line. And so do not feel that you have to write so that your evaluators, if you're going to guess what your evaluators are and sort of speak to them like a politician. As long as you can have a good argument for your point of view, that you're articulate, that you include all the pieces that you need to that the question tells you in your point of view, it doesn't matter. So whatever your belief about something, your stance on something, we do have some social issues we ask you about. We would expect you to know what the church says, but we also might expect you to take the other side, okay? And understand that, because as clergy, we often have to deal with things like that, okay? So just don't think that you're writing to that. Our evaluators, you will have at least 3 different people evaluate each question. So how many is that? 18 people. Okay. And that is how much attention each person gets. And each exam has at least 3 people that read it. Okay. And each question is read by a different team. So the people who read your theology are not going to read your ethics part. As a matter of fact, they don't even have access to your other questions, which is different than it used to be, and something that is important. If you are someone who is not a native English speaker, but are planning to take this in English, we would ask for you to write at the top of each of your questions before you answer them, English is not my first language. And then your readers will know that. If you do not say that, we really cannot, we might be able to discern it, but you can't count on it. And so we ask, and we do have, particularly this year, a lot of native Spanish speakers who are going to take it in English, and have chosen that. We do offer it in Spanish. If you know of someone who would rather have it in Spanish, we can do that too. We can make those arrangements. But if it is not your native language, please put that at the beginning of each of your answers so that the team will know. We have volunteers from throughout the church who work with us. We use all of our board members, plus we draft about 25 other people from throughout the church, trying to fill in gaps with diversity and knowledge of certain fields. And so these teams work together, and we begin working on each GOE in the fall. In the very late summer, we will begin right after General Convention this year for next year. And they take all fall until October to come up with a question. And then it is batted back and forth and criticized and ripped up and changed and read by field testers, people out there who agree to read for us, who've just graduated from seminary. We have all kind of people read them, bishops, and they come back with suggestions, and we keep refining the questions. As a matter of fact, the questions only this month are set in stone. Okay, the people who evaluate you are different than the people who wrote the questions. So they did not have any input on the questions, but they are trained by a trainer to answer each question. And that means that they literally have to judge 10 to 12 exams on their own to make sure that their opinion agrees with the trainers. Okay, so it's very tough, and it takes a lot of time, and all these people are volunteers. No one is paid except for my husband, who runs it all the time, all year, because it does go all year. After we get them, the trainers will be training on your answers, and then they will and then the trainers will get their team and train them. And then all the answers that are proficient, okay, they just go straight through. Nobody else ever sees them, and you get a big P, which is what you want. And all the ones that are not proficient will be also read by 2 bishops to see if they concur with the readers. And sometimes they change their mind. The bishops make them change their mind, okay? And then when you have ones that are in the middle, everyone gets together and they work it out and work together to try to figure out whether they're going to pass or not proficient. I will tell you that we err on the side of grace. So if it's right on the line, we're more likely to say that it's a pass than a not pass or not proficient, okay? And that's all you have. So you will want to get your result back that has no comments on it, that has a P for every single line, and has no comments. You will only get comments if you have a not proficient in an area or 2 or more. They're immediately sent to your bishops and to you. Your seminary will get your scores, but not a copy of your answers. Your bishop will get a copy of your answers, and of course you will get all that, okay? So they're all coded by number, and there is a key, but we keep it safe, and so no one is going to have any idea who you are, okay, when they're judging it, when they're scoring it. Please, when you are answering your questions, do not give away anything about yourself. It's hard, I think, for men and women not to give away about themselves, but like what seminary you've gone to, you could inadvertently give it away with a professor's name, who your bishop is, all those kind of identifying things we would like for you to keep out of that. And if you want to tell sort of a story from your own ministry to illustrate something, you can do that without, total identification of where you're from and what and all that. So that is one of the things that's a no-no, is to let people know who you are. Okay. Let's see. The way the results are used now is that your bishops and your commissions on ministry know that this is a diagnostic piece of your portfolio as a candidate or a postulant. And you know what you've been through to get to this point. And you know all the things you've had to be to the psychiatrist. You've had to go to have a physical, all those things. You've had your CVE report. You've had right? You've had all those things. And all those go in your records, right? This is just one piece of it. And it is not meant to be used to say you cannot be ordained because you didn't pass all areas. Like I said, it's diagnostic, which is going to mean that if you need to work a couple of areas, your diocese usually has a plan and will work out a plan with you to strengthen yourself in those areas. And that's what your commission on ministry would do with the bishop, and also with you, discuss what your answers were. And they would make a plan, and a lot of people do it during the diaconal year. Okay, so if you don't, pass some, there is provision for that. There's also provision for your bishop to come back to us and talk to us about it, if he or she are really are thinking that this was a pass. But the comment on it should explain why it didn't pass. So that should, if you thought you did a great job, the comment should tell you maybe you left out a big piece of it or something like that. So that goes to one of the biggest tips I can give you, and that is to read the question. And keep reading the question as you're writing. Keep going back to read the question. The question, if you have a beautiful answer and you don't answer the question that's asked, you're going to have a not proficient. Because part in the belief of the board and the evaluators is that we as clergy should be able to follow directions. Now, some of us are better at that than others, but I just wanted you to be aware that is really important. Don't think you're going to dazzle us with your brilliant writing, because if you don't answer the question, it won't help. Not only look at the question, but each of the questions has rubrics with it. Do you guys use rubrics in your study now where you go? Do they offer something like that to tell you what's expected of you in your answer? Yes, nod, no. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yes, you know? Okay, well, this is a great addition, believe me. If you will do what that chart says about that particular question, you will pass. So be sure to keep going back and forth to the chart. Did I do this part? Did I do that part? If they want 3 theologians and you give them 2, then, you see, you have a problem. So please, not only read the questions, but read the rubrics that come with the question. When you get the question on your screen, what's going to happen is you're going to have to go down underneath it to see your rubrics. So don't forget to do that. Some people decide the rubrics aren't important and they don't read them, which is crazy because it really gives you even a format for your answer. Okay, it'll give you a logical construction for your answer, which is what you're going for. Reasoning and logic with good information that speaks to the question asked. Okay, so yes, you are sitting for a long time, but there's no reason you can't get up and walk around. These are some technical tips for you, okay? Are you guys taking them at home, in a library? What kind of places?
That's part of my question. I can take them in my library.
Okay.
I could take them at home.
Okay.
I'm trying to discern what makes sense.
I think definitely with the internet, you should probably be able to get to anything you would get to in a library. What you want to make sure is that it's quiet, it's comfortable. You can get up and walk around. You know, some people like to eat when they're doing it. Some people don't feel like that, you know, but you want to make the environment, it needs to be quiet with no distractions. Whatever works for you and your bishop says it's okay, ultimately is the correct place for you, okay? Please, I beg you, if you have children or a needy spouse, make them leave. I'm very serious. You should not be in a position where you have to do childcare during a period of testing for the GOEs. And if you have problems with something like that, I think if you would talk to your seminary person or the person who's going to be your liaison, because you do have to focus. You're exactly right, Lindsay. You have to focus. And if you are trying to tend to kids, get lunch for them, whatever, you know, you have to let the dog out, all those things, it does take away from your concentration, and we want you to do your best work. So we say, if you can get rid of them, that would be good. If you can't, make some other arrangements, okay, or go somewhere else. Let's see. Okay, does anybody have a question right now?
Yeah, I mean, I guess one question I have is, if we don't have a good sense of any information from our proctor or liaison yet, should we be reaching out to people? Is it time for that, or does that come later?
Let me ask you, do you have a special liaison? Are you have one person assigned to you? You don't even know?
I don't know what that means. I know that I got an email from Beth Ely saying that they were the proctor for the diocese, but I don't know anything beyond that. So
yes, you should be hearing from the person you're going to have. Most of you, if you did other people get that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Seabury, Bexley Seabury and the Diocese of Chicago use the same person as your liaison, which is your connection with us. So if anything goes wrong at all during, that is the person you talk to, and they talk to us, and we help you problem solve, okay? So it is called the liaison. We have seminary liaisons. We have diocesan liaisons. So if you have gotten from Bexley, it's Brother Ron Fox, right? And he also does Diocese of Chicago. Do y'all know him?
Yeah.
Some of y'all might probably know him because he's around. So he's used to this. He knows what he's doing. If you have any kind of questions, just ask him. He should be contacting you anytime. But as far as the work that we do here, we make sure that every single one of you is linked electronically to a liaison. There is nobody out there left by themselves. Even those people in the middle of Wyoming have somebody, okay? So this leads me to just say, if you're not all taking them in a classroom together, it sounds like you're not. First of all, a lot of you are in Chicago or some cold place. We have to be ready for emergencies. We cannot control the weather as much as we would like to. So please go into each exam with a fully charged laptop. If you use our word processor on our website, it saves every 2 minutes, as long as you're using that. And if you use Word or Firefox or something like that, it has an automatic save now. So you would only, if you lost anything, if your computer died, you would only lose maybe the last couple minutes. Okay, you could easily lose electricity with bad weather, and y'all know that, my gosh. So we have had that happen so many times. So please make sure your laptop, most people probably will have a laptop, is fully charged. Also your cell phone, fully charged, in case you have to speak with your liaison. You want to have juice in your phone. And, you know, it's my luck, I'd forget to bring my charger that day, right? So just do that. And if the weather is bad and we have to postpone or something happens technologically, we will work through it at the time. We will not take away from your time limit or anything like that, okay? Just know we'll work with your person, and if it's Ron Fox, we work with him for you, okay? People have gotten sick in the middle of the exam, really sick, that they couldn't finish. We've had people almost have breakdowns and couldn't finish, which is very sad, but it has happened. So just know we've had lots of things. You know, things we had, the electricity went off in California, in Southern California, the minute the exam started. They don't have weather. Okay, so the devil is in there somewhere, I'm sure. That's my theological thought about it. Okay, does that help at all about your liaison? You will hear from him if you haven't. And I will send them a reminder this week to get in touch with you guys. And he will give you all of his information. Okay. Are you knitting? No, that's fine. I think that's great. Very relaxing. All right. Our web. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else got a question right now? I'm going to talk about our website so you'll know. How many of you have signed in to our website and looked at? Okay.
You mean signed in? Like
Signed in.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Did you get an email from us telling you that you are nominated for the GEOs? Okay. It would have been a long time ago.
No, well, maybe.
All right. Lindsay, I'm going to send you one tomorrow. Okay. I'm going to put it down. Okay. I'm writing a note. Yes, it's a separate email. It has your login information, which is your email, and it has a password, which you can change after you get on. Our site is Episcopal, GBEC.org. Episcopal, GBEC.org. General Board of Examining Chaplains. You can get on the website. There's a public view. You can go on it, and what I suggest you do is you read everything on the public part. And when you get your login and you log in, you will have to sign a confidentiality statement, all right, for you to continue further on the candidates part, which is the part you're going to be on, which will give you access to your questions when it's time for them, okay? So you have a certain part of that website that belongs to you, and you will be able to get the question, write the question, and send the question from your part of the website. So keep your login information, because if you go into the GOE without it, you're going to be behind. Okay. When our website has a space for your answer, you'll get the question. You can read the question over and over as many times as you want. It'll stay up there. And we have a little word processor, and I mean little because the window's little, on there. You also have a word count as you're on there, which is helpful, and a countdown clock, which is also helpful. When that clock reaches 0, you can't do anything. So you have to time yourself to make sure that you are not racing that clock at the last minute to send your answer in. Remember, we have almost 200 people doing the same thing. Okay, so what you will do is you will write your answer and it will walk you through how to send it, how to submit it to us, okay? If you submit it and still have time left and want to go back and edit, or you realize you've said something wrong, you can, as long as you have time on your clock and you're not at 0, you can go back as many times as you want, okay? So, but when it gets to 0, if you haven't submitted anything, then you will get a not proficient, because we might have some of your answer if you were answering in our answer box.
Okay.
If you choose to write your answer on Microsoft Word or another word processing program like that, just know if you have not pasted anything into our answer box and submitted it, it's not going to count. So what a lot of people would much rather use Microsoft Word or something like that. I don't blame them. I would too. But you need to, the best thing to do is to paste piece by piece, if that's what you need to do. Another thing that you probably need to have within reach is a printer. It is not, yeah, see, going to the library. I saw that look. I was a journalist for 10 years before I went to seminary. And so I know what it is to write on deadline. I also know about constructing a piece of work and editing. Believe it or not, there are studies that say that you catch more errors on a printout, even if you're using spell check, than you do depending on your computer. So if you can print it out and go over it, and then go back in and make the changes, and then of course the computer will tell you, of course, and you can use grammar check if you want, it's fine. All right, you can use dictionaries and whatever, but just be sure that you get something in our answer box if you want to write on another word processor. Now, one of the ways that you can figure out what I'm talking about, because it's so confusing, is when you do get on our website and you get to the candidates part, there's a practice question. So you can doodle with that and see how the answer box and the question work. Okay, so the answer box has a little toolbox at the top, just like in Word. So you can do all your editing, all your rearranging right there if you want to. As you get more familiar with it, as the questions go on, you'll find what's going to work best for you. But we don't have it if it's not on our website, and that's really important for y'all to understand. Okay. All right. Anything else you can think of? It's good to send a question, your answer to your liaison. If you want to print it out for yourself and send it to yourself, just to make sure you have a copy, an electronic copy, do it. There's nothing wrong with that. But you are not supposed to go around and show everybody your answer and the question. Not everybody takes this exam at the same time. Even the time zones differ, right? Here, we have people who will be taking them later. So you must just keep your confidence until, let me think when, probably the 1st of February. Okay. You're not even supposed to talk with each other about it, but I know you do. So because I was there. I mean, you're dying to ask other people, what did you say? Right? Okay. But this is, just remember, we don't want to give anybody an unfair advantage either. And we want everybody to have it fairly done for them. Okay. Who else? All right, let me look at my tips and see if I have anything I haven't said to you. Because those, I know Jason and I were talking about this. I said, read the question and understand the question, but ask yourself, why would they ask this question? Because there's usually a reason we ask that question. These are very contemporary exams, and if there's an issue in the church, you could be asked about it in any number of ways. Just so you know, whatever the issue of the day is, hopefully you won't have to answer about women's ordination, but who knows? We thought we were past it, but I don't know. Anyway. Ask yourself, why would those crazy people at the GEOs ask this question? What is there going on right now? Why is this even relevant to today? Okay, that really gives you a hint about the direction of your answer. Please, your day off, you have a day off, right? Use it as a day off. You're going to need it. You're going to have 2 grueling days in a row. And we really want you to take time and play and rest on your day off, whatever gives you rest and pleasure. Please eat and drink water or whatever your favorite drink is. Alcohol wouldn't recommend until when you finish, maybe, but please just do some self-care. You're going to be, as you know, your brain works better when your body is working well. So just take care of yourself, be kind to yourself that week. Don't, smash a whole lot of other activities in that week. This is going to be your job for that week. So you can get on with the rest of your ministry in the way that you feel that God has called you, okay? I think that is all that I have on my list. As far as tips and things, just really going over the website and reading it. And there are tips on the website for you, as well as, lots of some history. All the previous GOE questions are on the website, which is helpful. And as far as the form of the question, just the last few years are the most useful for the way we ask questions now. And we only do 2-parters. So, but those are helpful for you to go over. And I know Jason has things that he helps you with to prepare. I wouldn't study so much. My head would burst. And this is, we did, it was horrible. But this is what I say, what are the odds in any one of the 6 sections? You're going to study the exact thing that we're going to ask about. I mean, even if history is weak for you, okay, and you just go at it with history, the probability is you're going to study history we don't ask about. Now, it might help you, I don't know, but I'm just saying, don't freak out. Don't do that to yourself. Just try to chill, take deep breaths. You'll do fine. Really, you'll do fine. It'll all work out. All shall be well. Just keep saying that to yourself. There also is a list of the order of the exams on the website. So you will know what's coming what day at what time. And there's a lot of useful stuff there, how to work our website, you know, what to watch out for, all kind of tips for you. If you have a problem, you're always welcome to text us or call us. Your nomination form that you got back should have that information. It's better to text us. I'll tell you that because we're not in the office all the time. So a text we check our mailboxes all the time for texts. So if you have a confidential thing that you need to talk about, call us or text us and say you want to talk to us. If we can be any help at all to you in making decisions, you know, like Lindsay, you haven't made your decision, things like that, we'll be glad to be helpful. If your diocese has a question and they're confused, tell them to call us or text us. All right. If your seminary's confused, if your seminary says to you, you're not on my list, make sure they get in touch with us right away, because they should have a list of you and you should know where you're going and with whom. Okay, that's the way it works. So we all have each other and you're not out there wondering what's happening.
This may be a silly question, but is there, in terms of citations, is there a preferred model that you?
Yes. No footnotes, no endnotes, no bibliography.
Fantastic.
They are parenthetical citations.
Chicago stuff.
Right in the text. Of course, we expect you to cite, you know, quotes and all that, but like as short as you can. Mm-hmm. And there are some examples in the instructions. Okay, so it's not what you're used to doing academically at all. But even just say BCP 108, mm-hmm. you know, or, you know, Matthew 3:16, or, you know, whatever you're just really small. We just recently had somebody ask us about if you're citing St. Augustine for something, and you can't just put Augustine. You know, you're going to have to say the work, mm-hmm. but you don't have to say the edition, the page, the volume, okay, or just the first couple of words of the title.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
And class notes, you would just say class notes in parentheses.
Great.
Okay. Anything else?
Just to be sure, it's open resources. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that suggests too then that your best use of your time between now and when you take the GOEs will be more assembling your library, your resources that you'll want for the day, than cramming or especially trying to read through anything new. You're
Yes.
not doing really any research on that day, but you need to know where to be able to access some fast facts and that sort of thing to use for your response. And yes, you're going to want to know what you have, where it is, where to find what you need in that resource, more than, you know, trying to cram through a pile of 4 or 5 books.
You're breaking up.
Okay, I'm not sure what all might not have been heard. Just focus on
Yes, what you were saying is correct.
exactly.
Yes. So you don't have a whole bunch to study for, which if you were thinking, oh my God, I've got to make time to study for everything I ever learned. No. And you can even arrange on your computer. The Book of Common Prayer is there. You have a place where you click and look at it rather than flipping through the book if you want to do it that way. So yeah, exactly. Arrange and know where to get to what you need.
I double checked my email and I did not see anything.
Okay. I'll try to send it tonight before I leave the office. Okay. Do you want and you probably just missed it.
Okay.
So I will send it tonight. So you should get it tonight.
Great. Thank
If you don't have it tomorrow, would you email us, please? Okay. I'll just go on the website and it'll tell you episcopalgbec.org.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Beth tonight?
I hope this is helpful for everybody, and we take questions all the time, all year. If you ever need your GOE and you've lost it in 10 years, we will still have it to send to the new bishop who's going to hire you as his canon to the ordinary or her assistant bishop, okay? So we're here for you, and we're all praying for you. We just want you to do your very best and come and join us in the ordained ministry. And we're looking forward to what you bring, what God has in store. Okay?
Thank you very much, Beth.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay, so long.
Thank you for your
I'll
time.
see you next week when we'll have another session on demystifying and preparing for the GOEs. It'll be 1 week from tonight, 7:30 Central Time, 8:30 Eastern Time. Hope to see you then. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.